Thanks for doing this, Pete.
It's an absolute pleasure, my friend.
It's not usual for me to be recording a podcaster. So this is the first time I feel I'm under pressure because I'm talking to a podcaster and I've heard your podcast. It's just unbelievable. And in fact, on the way back, Chris and I were listening into your podcast. Just amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've been podcasting for, I think even before podcasting was a thing. And I think it's a great way of getting a message out there. I think people love hearing conversations between people. And I'm looking forward to what we can learn from each other from talking today.
And I think sometimes I just feel what podcast has done. I remember my, college days, we were sitting in the hostel and as friends, we would speak and we'd say, if there was a fly on the wall today, it would have gone back with so much knowledge and information, especially when you're discussing something which is really close to your heart, the passion that comes out.
Yeah.
So I feel podcasts are different from interviews. Interviews are more structured, with an agenda or whatever. But a podcast is conversation between two people.
Yeah, I know. If you ever go into a restaurant and you see two people engaged in a conversation, it's quite hypnotic. You kind of want to know what are they talking about. Yeah. And you and I have a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom on.
Speak about yourself. No wisdom here.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, listen, I've learned a fair bit about you, and we obviously spoke for 45 minutes before we came in here. And not only do we have a shared love of cricket and Kapil Dev, but that's a story for another day. We are both what I would call true entrepreneurs and people that want to serve humanity. And, that's what gets us out of bed every day, is doing great work. And I feel that my best days are ahead of me. I really do. Yeah. Do you?
No, 100%. Absolutely. I think 40s, I'm in my 40s, so I think 40s are the new 20s.
Yeah.
Because what we are is, we are 20-year-olds with 20 years of experience.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I'm 55, and Napoleon Hill, who wrote the greatest book, two of the greatest books of all time for me are Outwitting the Devil and Think and Grow Rich, both written by Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill said that when people get into their 50s, that's the time when we should see their greatest work, because they have all of this experience. But as you know, a lot of people, when they get into that age, they will think it's all downhill. And I've got all of this stuff that I've learned that I want to share. I want to pass it on.
Yeah, agreed. And that's what we spoke about today. So let's speak about your coaching practice. Pete, coaching is very close to my heart. And I feel when I was young, when I was starting off, if I had a good coach, I could have done so much better in life. I made my own share of mistakes, right? I did what I thought was right. I soundboarded with a few people, my bosses, my ex-bosses, pick up the phone and call them and say, I'm in this situation. What do you think I should be doing? But I never had a formal, structured program where somebody coached me and I could go back with, the entire situation where I am. So I think, usually when you're doing business, it's like, you're dealing with an elephant. Now, somebody in the business can see the tail, somebody the ear, somebody the trunk. Nobody can see the entire elephant other than you. The only person who would actually see the elephant is a good coach, because then they can guide you really well. So talk to me about what you do in coaching and how did you get into it? But I know you were in sports as well back in the day.
So the word coach comes from a Hungarian word that means a coach and horses.
Yeah.
So why would anyone go on a coach and horse? They are somewhere, they want to go somewhere. So a good coach will help you identify, where are you? Where do you want to go? How do you get there? And I didn't know I was a coach. I was a fitness instructor, 1989, in a small place called Cheltenham in Gloucestershire. And you don't realize that when someone joins a gym and you sit down with them, which was what we had to do. We had to do fitness assessments like this, tell me about what you want, and you start asking them questions. Then you wouldn't pinch them and punch them, but you put the calipers on them, body fat, you put them on a bike, you'd ask them questions. But what became really evident is that they want something and I want to help them get what they want. Now, no one labeled me a coach, but I realized back then that's exactly what I was doing. But I didn't know what I was doing. So, you're a coach if you are in a position of you're supposed to help someone on their journey to go from where they are to where they want to be. And I've been coaching people since 1989 in various guises and various forms, from high-flying business executives to world and Olympic champions, but predominantly, Sammy, just to everyday people, just like you and me. I'm a people's person. I'm the underdog person. I'm the person that when they join the gym, my dissertation at university was on exercise adherence.
Yeah.
And I spoke to 100 people that stopped coming to the gym. Some after a week, some after 6 weeks, some after 6 months, some after a year. Do you know how many people came back because someone spoke to them? So many. Because, you know, I'm like you, I'm just rooting for the person. And I'm still as passionate about helping people get to a point where they can coach themselves. And I know you're a massive fan of entrepreneurship. Alex Hormozy, who's obviously very well known in the field of coaching, in you know, marketing. And I love what he said. I heard him say that the best person to coach you is the person that you could become.
Yeah.
And our role is to help people become that person so they can be guided by themselves. And to quote one of the most famous Indians of all time, Gandhi, who famously said, you know, be the change that you want to see in the world. So he had to reinvent himself. Did he reinvent himself on his own? Probably not. He probably had some people around him. I'd like to know who was around Gandhi. But when you look at great people, their success has been governed by who helped them, who was around them. And you obviously had some people that you were phoning up and asking questions. What do? I don't know what to do. Can you help me?
Yeah. And there are some situations where we just have no idea, you know, and you just go with your gut. And at that point of time is when you kind of speak with somebody and you get some context and you take a better decision. I think you can always connect the dots backwards. You know, in hindsight, you can say, oh, I fucked up. This is a bad decision. But that's only hindsight. But at the point when you're taking a decision, at that point of time, if you can speak with somebody and get some more context, you probably can make a better decision.
So there's hindsight and then there's foresight.
Right.
And foresight, I never had foresight.
Yeah.
Because I had so much anxiety about, which is another story. I had a lot of imposter syndrome when I was very young and started in the business that I was in. But I had some great coaches who were very cool, calm and collective, and they had foresight. They could see beyond where it is that I was to help me see a future that I wanted to go out and create.
So when did you structure this? You know, I know you've been coaching people for ages, right? And even as a personal trainer, most personal trainers after a particular amount of experience would call themselves coaches. But you transitioned from there to being a life coach. You've had so much going in your life, right? I've seen the documentary. We spoke about that. You know, you created one of the best documentaries in the world ever made.
About my wife, yes.
Yeah.
Well, just, you know, going back to, I'm like you, right? I'm always looking for solutions for things. And the biggest problem I found was people who wanted to lose weight, right? That was the biggest problem. Most people, you'd sit them down, what do you want? Women would say, I want to lose weight. Men would say, I want to tone up. I think it's changed. This was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, how do I help this person? And I thought I was the problem because I'd give them a great program of exercise that was mainly different to what everyone else was doing. Most people were giving them cardio. I worked out quite quickly. Cardio wasn't particularly good for weight loss. It was about strength training, building muscle, and cutting out carbs. I also worked that out at quite an early age, but it still didn't have the breakthrough that I wanted to. And I realized that it was the way people were thinking. And that's why I created a weight loss program that I'd been experimenting, working with a group of people, predominantly women, an 8-week course that was about changing behavior first, changing the way you think. And that weight loss program became so successful. The first one I did only had 4 people on it. And then after a week, one person dropped out, and there was 3.
And which year was this?
This was started in 1996, and we sold to Bupa in 2003 for 2.4 million. Now, I didn't sell it. I didn't create it
To sell it.
but to sell it.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't understand money. I had no concept about money at all, which is another story. But we sold this program, and it was just, to say it was a game changer would be a massive understatement. And then I worked for them for a while, and then I got back into the industry, and we created another weight loss program. And then that we created a license of that, and many of the big leisure operators bought a license of it, and we trained their presenters, their instructors to deliver this program, and huge success. But you'll never guess what happened eventually is that they didn't have any more people to market this to, because let's be honest, overweight people don't really go to gyms. fit people go to gyms. I know that's
Such
a
a
massive
dichotomy.
generalization.
Oh man, but it's such
It's
a
the
dichotomy.
tr-
You're right. You're right. You're right.
If
Absolutely.
overweight people or unhealthy people, if they join a gym, they're not going to stick around for very long because their identity is not of someone who is a fit, healthy person. And I'm still as frustrated about that now as I ever have been to let's get the people into our facilities and let's give them what they need so being healthy and being well is what they do, right? It's what they do. It's not something they do a little bit. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still as passionate about that as you can probably tell.
So this transition into being a life coach,
So
what triggered that?
So that was so funny because I wrote a book and it was called,
Not a book. You've written 20 books.
I've written 20 books, but this was the first book I wrote. It was called Slimming with Pete. I mean, what a terrible name for a book. Slimming with Pete.
Which year was this?
This was in probably 1998, 99. No
this
one
is
would
like,
publish it.
This is like a 90s title.
Of course. And no one would publish it. But like we were talking about before, that wasn't going to stop me.
Yeah.
I approached all the major publishers. No. I found a small publishing house in Wales. They didn't give me an advance. They published a book. And then I thought, well, like you, a true entrepreneur. Okay, well, I've got to get people to read the book. How do I do that? In the Sunday Times, there was a woman called Amanda Ursel who used to review all the diet books. I hounded her, almost to the point of harassing her, but I didn't. But she met me. She reviewed the book, and this is what she wrote. She wrote as a review, she said, at the end of this book, you'll be in danger of changing your eating habits, taking up regular exercise, and discovered you're a pretty wonderful person. That was in the Sunday Times.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, it was an avalanche of from 20, 30, 40 people coming to my workshops, 500 people coming, because the Sunday Times had so much weight. And then GMTV, which was a morning television program, she was involved with that. They were launching a strand called Inch Loss Island, where we were taking overweight people away, like it was before The Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
So we were pioneers in that space. We did that, millions of people watching. Then Random House send me a fax, biggest publishing house in the world.
Oh, fuck, I forgot the days of fax.
Yeah, they sent us a fax offering me £25,000 for an advance on my second book. Bear in mind, I'm dyslexic. I did terribly at school. I can't read and write particularly well. And it just crescendoed. I didn't plan for it. Everything I touched turned to gold. But I really, really had imposter syndrome. I really didn't think I was good enough. I was fit and strong, but inside I was a mess. And I burnt out. I burnt out in probably 1996. And I had chronic fatigue and ME probably for 10 years. So, it was amazing in some respects because of what I was achieving, but inside I was in a terrible place.
What do you do at this stage in life? And I know a lot of people go through this phase of ups and downs, and most people, I would say for myself, I've had more downs than ups in life, but you...
So what keeps you going then if you've had more downs than ups?
It's just that thinking that, my personal view, and this is, as cliche as it may sound, see, we're all going to die one day, right? We've got a finite amount of time on this planet. Right? We need to make sure why we are here, right? And if you got finite time, and if you're going through a bad patch, what do? Why do you waste that time? So one thing I've learned from my dad and mom is, my dad was in the armed forces. He used to always say resilience, right? I think people don't look at long term, right? People just look at today. As long as you see your life as, okay, you're going to be here for a long time. You want to do the best of it, but it's a finite amount of time. What's the point of moaning about anything? Because so it just doesn't make any sense.
When you told me before about your story around having a very good corporate job.
Yeah.
Dad was in the army.
My dad was in the army. I left my job.
But your dad also wrote how many books?
50 books.
50 books on leadership.
Yeah.
So he obviously showed you, taught you. You've got the genes of, okay, I'm going to take the lead.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to take the lead outside of the corporate world and step into the world of entrepreneurship?
So when I was working for somebody, every day I would moan that, why the fuck can I not do what I want to do? I want to make my own mistakes. I want to create. Why do I need to work in this system where there are rules whether that this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. When I know what's best for the company, and I would always treat. And I remember my boss, my HR head used to be a guy called Ashu Kalappa, and he used to say, Samir, you are not cut out for a corporate job.
Yeah.
So you just fucking take a chill pill on weekends. I said, I can't, because I can't. My mind's working fucking overtime. Friday evenings, I used to be like, what the fuck am I going to do, man? Saturday, Sunday. There's so much work to be done on Monday. I used to wait for Monday mornings to go to office to work because I had so much. And he used to say that nobody in this company has the kind of ownership you have. And
Ownership.
yeah, ownership. I mean, I used to feel, fuck, this is, I can't go wrong. I have to do the best. I have to be the best at what I do. So it used to rub off on my team.
Yeah.
And everybody used to, so my boss used to say, boss,
You got to go.
You got to do you have to be an entrepreneur, and you would be at some point of time.
Yeah. So I remember growing up, I used to say a lot to my parents, listen, I'll do what I want, when I want, how I want to do it, who I want to do it with. And, the entrepreneur was always in me. I remember I was 9 years old and my brother had a paper round 4 years older than me. And it used to annoy me because he was earning money. So I went down to the paper shop and I said to the people, how old do you have to be a paper boy? They went 11. The guy goes, how old are you? I went 11. And then I figured out I could do one paper round. I thought, I could do two if I were quick. And then eventually I worked out I could do 4 rounds. But I built up a pace.
Yeah.
But I couldn't maintain the pace that I was living and working at. But, and that's where I suppose I've had to learn how to manage myself best. And like we said before, we've been mentored, coached, but the coaches I've had, they would never call themselves coaches or mentors. They were just people that looked out there for me. And I that's what gets me going still to this day is who can I help? Who can I pass on the wisdom that's been passed on to me to help others? And that's I think the purpose of life, isn't it? Isn't it to pass on what's been given to you?
You won't believe it, Pete. So my business partner, when I started my first business, a business school, was a guy called Gagan Kumar. We met in Standard Chartered Bank. We started working together. And he used to tell me, Samir, stop fucking being a teacher, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to coach everybody. Why are you coaching everybody? We're also in the business of business. But for me, I would insulate myself from the commercial aspect of it. And all I was bothered that time is, where would this student be 10 years from now? Today, I feel, students who passed out of my college, and I was no top business school. And the reason we spoke about the reason I started a business school was because I was the head of talent acquisition. I realized there was a gap in the market, what the industry wanted and what was being produced. And that point of time, I said, we need to get the right kind of people. We need to teach them the right things. So I would get students who had not made it to the top business schools, but wanted to achieve something in life.
Yeah.
Had that.
The misfits.
Yes. And they had that will of saying, I will put in those fucking hours and do well.
And what's happened to those misfits? You told me before.
So I have students who work for Google. I have students who work for Amazon. I have students who work for HP. I have students who work for Apple. And these are companies which are... Yeah.
And all entrepreneurs are misfits, right?
And believe me, these are guys these jobs are technically in India for the top business schools. But these guys are just killing it.
Yeah.
Because I always say, and what we said, hard work will triumph over intelligence any day.
Yeah.
There are only few jobs that require the kind of intelligence you require.
Yeah.
I would say pure sciences, right? Intelligence is only one aspect, right? You don't need fucking super intelligent people to do corporate jobs and marketing.
No,
you don't need an IQ of fucking 160, do you? So it's just the process of getting people in a business school is based on intelligence first and everything else second. And then obviously they get the best students. But then what happens to the people who are not that intelligent? They never make it to the business school. So are they not entitled, or are they not somebody who deserve that job? Are they people who should not be given that opportunity? No, not really. If you can create a platform where they can learn, and if they can be taught how to work well in that environment, they will
thrive.
do well. Yeah, they'll fly 100%.
Yeah, that's what gets me. Provide the right environment for people to learn for themselves. So I know you're interviewing me, but I'm just as curious as you are when you said about, what's your drive?
Yeah.
What is it that's driving you? What is it that you actually want to do? What is it you want to leave behind? What is it?
I want to be the best in what I do. Like for me now, everything I've got in my life, right? I sold a business which was, I had a gym chain with 40 gyms. Whatever I've achieved in life is from this industry, fitness industry,
Yeah.
right? I've learned from all industries, but this is my first love.
Me
Fitness,
too. Me too.
fitness is my first love, my passion, and I want to go tell the world how important it is. And today I feel so happy that the younger generation is not looking up to the 30 and 40-year-olds
No.
who are fucking assholes because they are going to the pub every day. They're having
Yeah,
unhealthy
younger
food.
people are now going to the...
I mean, I was talking to you about it. So I interviewed Ollie Machon on one of my episodes, and I was sitting in a sauna in my gym, and a 20-year-old kid was just speaking with me. He says, my friends are inviting me for an evening out to the pub. I'm not going there. It's going to fucking hit a whoop on it. It's going to spoil my HRV is going to go back. My recovery is going to go bad. And I've been watching this guy Ollie, and he says that you should not drink and whatever. I said, Ollie Machon. He says, yes. I said, he was on my podcast. He says, fuck off.
Wow.
Really. And such a small world. I picked up the phone next day and I called Ollie and I said, see, that's why I say you're the right role model. That's the kind of people we need. People who are living a healthy life. You can have all the fun in the world. You don't need to everything. The key word is moderation, right? It's not that you should, I'm not saying don't drink, don't do this. Do what you want to do, but in moderation, and understand how your body works. So I think what's driving me today is to look at a healthier population. And obviously, everybody has got a commercial interest. The more people who get in the fitness industry, the more it's for, for this industry to grow. We still, in developed countries like the UK, we are about 17% penetration.
There's never been a better time to be in this industry.
We can just fucking kill it.
When we were young, we were going to the pub.
Yeah.
When I was 20, that's what we were doing. Now, walk outside Pure Gym and I see all these young people in there, So there's such an appetite. And now older people, I think COVID really scared and shook a lot of people up.
Yeah.
And my generation, which is obviously what we call generation, what do we call Generation X? We're 1965 to 1980. Our generation, we're now...
We're not baby boomers. Baby
boomers are after us.
Yeah,
we're Generation X.
Yeah.
We're that generation of, hang on a second, what's going on here? We're going to die soon. And I know people around me, I know lots of people at the moment with different ailments and conditions. And we're now thinking, I need to do something about this. So there's never been more of an appetite. But as an industry, we have to adapt to try and understand how best to serve these people rather than try and serve everyone the same way, which is how illness is often treated today. It's not, you look at the future of illness, it will be, well, let's look at your DNA. Let's see if you've got the markers for this drug, that drug. And that's what we should be doing with people's needs. Who do we need to be in order to help this person get the results they want?
You speak a lot about mindset shifts. And you also, when I was listening to your podcast, you spoke the very interesting things that, that you speak about. Do you think we can change people's mindset? Is it possible?
Of course it is. So what a good place to start with the mind is, I had a coach for 16 years. He was from the Philippines. I told you about him. He was a medical doctor. He was just the most incredible person. I traveled the world with him. He lived with indigenous people. He worked with World Hunger. So he's just observed. And I had the privilege of learning from someone like this. And I never forget, one day he said to me, what's the nature of the human mind? And I looked at him and I gave him an answer based on, what I know about psychology. And he laughed and he said, the nature of the human mind is the mind plays tricks on you. I said, what do you mean? He goes, do you ever try to go to sleep at night and you can't because your mind's going overtime? I said, yeah. He goes, you ever walk down a street and you think someone's behind you and there's no one there? He goes, yeah. He goes, your mind's playing a trick on you. In Buddhism, they call it dukkha. In Hinduism, they call it maya, which is the dysfunction of the mind. It will create illusion, fantasy. Unless you learn how to stop and observe what your mind is doing, you're going to be a victim of your mind.
Yeah.
So mindfulness or mindset is your ability to stop and see what your mind is doing. But in a world now that never stops, it's hard for people to switch off or just to observe the mind. My world, my work as a coach is to help people understand what is the experience like of being themselves. How are they thinking? How are they feeling? And to delve sometimes or a lot of the time into how their life experience has affected them. And most of us have experienced trauma in our life that's sometimes unresolved. And the body keeps the score. We talk about changing the body, but if we don't deal with the trauma that we've experienced in our life, often no amount of fitness is going to make that trauma go away. So what we're seeing now more and more in the industry of health and fitness is wellness coaches who are perhaps creating environments for people to speak about how they think, how they feel, plus the addictions that we have to all these different, to technology, to foods that are manufactured in such a way to make them addictive. It's hard to navigate a path to well-being if you're not being helped and supported by someone else and you don't know what your mind is doing.
And your environment is also such a, the magic that can happen if you're in the right environment. People don't understand, people undermine that. And I remember talking to our dear friend Ollie Patrick, and Ollie always talks about, what's around you, right? And he says, so I always tell him, I can't fucking sleep. He says, when are you having your last dose of caffeine?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's late. Okay, are you on your phone before you sleep? Like, there's something which all of us are doing, and that's wrong. At least I would say most people don't understand what they need to do get good sleep. And most people it's not hours of sleep alone. It's the quality of sleep that you get. I don't think people understand that. So when it comes to mindset, like you said, the mind plays games with us, right?
Well, sorry, go on.
You go on.
Well, when you told me about Kapil Dev, and hopefully Kapil will listen to this, right? I know you'll send it to him,
I'll
right?
send it to him 100%.
So Kapil Dev is one of the greatest cricketers of all time. You have to be of a certain generation to know who he was. But I worked in professional cricket. I worked with a professional cricket team in 1999, the Kent cricket team. I was really interested in mindset. How do these people think? You're going out to bat or bowl, let's say bat, and the bowler's trying to get you out, or the bowler's actually trying to hit you first to make you get scared. What you do with your mind is really important. And what we see with great athletes is they have the ability to focus their mind on where they are. So that, because life is hard. And we talk about training the body. It's of course a great thing to do to train the mind is train the body. But I'm just really passionate about helping people understand what they can do with their mind, because it's the seed of creation that you and we come up with an idea. We can then take the idea and make it into a reality. So everything that exists has existed twice, once in someone's mind and then once in reality. And someone comes to a gym and they have an idea of being healthy and being well. In fact, most cases, they don't actually have that idea. They have an idea of not being sick. I don't want to be sick.
Yeah, and I remember what you said on your podcast, which is, I've got fucking 2 parallel thoughts running, so
it's all good. You and I probably got ADHD.
Yeah. Oh man,
running.
I have been told that I definitely have ADHD. Do I fucking don't think so. Anyway, so the thought is, on your podcast, you mentioned most people can't even see their future. They don't know where the fuck they want to go.
Yes. So it's really, really fascinating. So what the science shows us is that you can put people in fMRI machine where we can see brain activity, and we could ask them a series of questions. So these studies have been done. You say to someone, think of yourself, and we see a region of the brain light up. We say, think of a stranger, someone you don't know. We see a different region of the brain light up. You ask people to think of themselves 6 months, a year down the line. For most people, they associate that with a stranger, right? So if that person's a stranger, why would you have empathy for a stranger? You only have empathy for people you tend to know.
Yeah.
And, one of the most well-known entrepreneurs in the world right now is Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah.
I introduced Stephen at an event in Brighton a few years ago, and I never forget what he said. It was one of them. I went up to him afterwards and said, that is one of the most fascinating things I've ever heard anyone say. He said when he was 15, he knew who he was pursuing. And then another incredible example of that is Mr. Beast.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Beast, right, who has changed the game in terms of YouTube, right? The biggest YouTuber of all time. He made 4 videos.
I know this, yeah.
Yeah. And he made these videos, and he's scheduled the videos to go out 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, I don't know.
6 months, 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years.
5 years. And he's talking to his future self.
Yeah.
And, it seems crazy to people, but unless we can get people inspired about a version of themselves that they haven't even met yet, then and that's what great entrepreneurs do. They have foresight. And I've only recently started to develop foresight because I've stopped being driven by anxiety and imposter syndrome. I've been driven by being more present,
Mm-hmm.
being in the moment, which
Yeah.
is another key to,
Oh man, it's so difficult to do that. It's very difficult to do that though.
of course, in a world that's moving so fast, it says you can't stop, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
But I think, look, this podcast is going to be better because we're present. We're not thinking about what's next. We're just here together in this moment. And I think that's where great ideas come about. And I'm still learning to be more present, because I used to just be, if you're riddled with imposter syndrome, which I was always thinking someone's going to find out that I'm a fraud.
Yeah. Tell people what's the imposter syndrome. What is it?
So imposter syndrome was a term that came out, I think, in the 50s or 60s, and basically that you feel that you're not good enough. You feel you're going to be found out at any one point. And I felt that I'm not who I'm pretending to be, and people are going to find out, because I've got one GCSE, I have no A levels, I do have 3 degrees, I have written all these books, but I didn't. At the heart of all of this, I didn't feel I was good enough. So I thought I would be found out. And as you know, I heard someone say this once last year. They said, we're all being called to something.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't answer the call gets louder.
Yeah.
So I believe I've had major stop moments in my life. My dad died in 2018. My mum died in 2021. And as you know, my wife died in 2023. They were major stop moments. But I've always been able to even run away when life has thrown me a stop. When I say run away, to not deal with what's been going on. But grief was the one thing with my wife. I couldn't run away. It brought me to my knees. I had to stop. I had to really look at who I was being, how I was thinking. And actually, that's probably the greatest gift my wife gave me. That's the reason why I have this tattoo on my arm, because my wife's motto was just get on with it. That's what she said. Diagnosed in 2011, given 18 months to live. I called my coach up in 2011. What should I do? He said, find people that are still alive with the same brain tumor, find out why. I never would have thought of that, because I was in fear and worry. And then he said, ask her what she's going to do when she gets better. There was a theme running all through my life, and I didn't realize what was going on. I believe a lot of this was, you could say, destined to happen or mapped out to happen. But it's taken the hardest thing that's ever happened to me to be the greatest thing, because just getting on with it, for me, is about intentional thinking. To be intentional about who I am, what I'm doing, why am I doing this,
So did your wife have self-belief? Because when did you ask her this question?
So the second question.
Yeah.
So I'm like you. I'm like you. I'm incredibly resourceful, right?
Ask her what she will do.
Ask her what she'll do when she gets better.
When did you ask
I
her this
didn't
question?
ask her that question for 3 years, because all I was interested in was her not dying.
Yeah.
So she had surgery, she had radiotherapy, tumor came back. I found a treatment in America, cost $250,000. I admire my wife so much that she leaned into this, and we went to America. She had this treatment. It was miraculous. She made the most incredible recovery. We got married. I was living in a lot of fear because I thought she'd get sick again. I asked her 3 years later, I said, Raphael asked me to ask you, what are you going to do when you get better? She started crying. And the reason she was crying, I think, was because she saw a future she didn't want. So then I Googled, draw your future. That's what I Googled. And I found this TED Talk by this lady called Patty Dolbovolsky, who's done 3 TED Talks. And the TED Talk is about drawing your current reality, drawing your desired reality. Hannah listened to it. She drew the future she wanted. And I'm not joking. The future that she drew pretty much came true. That woman, Patty's become one of my best friends and my wife's best friends.
Wow.
She made this, as I said, incredible recovery. But what they don't tell you is when you radiate the brain, in many cases, you're going to have a secondary cancer. You know, radiation is carcinogenic. So she was one of those people. She had secondary, this time deeper, this time in 2021, 6 months to live. And I have to be honest with you, I almost gave up. Her right side of her body was failing. I almost gave up. But you know what? It's not what you know, it's who you know. I've got some pretty great people around me. My coach had died at this point, but I have some friends, and both of them just said, you can't, you've got to look. And I found a treatment in Germany. And this treatment, and now there's a medical paper that's been written about my wife. They put 2 viruses in her brain, chickenpox and the Newcastle virus. Why is it called the Newcastle virus? No idea. You know what happens when you a virus in the system? The body
Immune
goes.
system,
The body goes. What the hell's that? And it triggered an immune response. All the cancer that they could see in her brain disappeared. And again, she made the most miraculous recovery. I was saying to everyone, this is the closest thing to a miracle. And then I stopped saying that. I said, this isn't the closest thing. This is a miracle.
This is a miracle, yeah.
And then she got COVID. And COVID just seemed to, we don't know. We can't say for sure. But I tell you what, after COVID, she just went downhill so fast. And she passed away in May 2023, which is just over 2 years ago. Of course, it's been ridiculously difficult. But, you know, this sounds very philosophical. My now coach I've worked with for 4 years, who's been so helpful, he said to me, we spoke nearly every day. That's what, we talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
When you're coaching people,
yeah,
like the way we would coach people, isn't just about, let's just do a session once a week. It's like, listen, I'm available to you 24/7, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. Time has no relevance to all of this. Obviously, be careful who you work with and how many people you work with. But he said, your biggest challenge with all of this is to celebrate Hannah. And that I found hard because I wanted to be mournful. And I'm mourning and feeling grief is a process. But me talking to you about her, this is a celebration of her life.
Yeah.
To be intentional.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because someone who listens to this, they might also be inspired because, as you said, it's not like the famous line from Rocky. It's not about how hard you hit, right? It's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. I think life isn't about what you achieve. It's what you've overcome.
Yeah. And I think people, you spoke, about something very interesting about people, how hard you can work, the bouncers you spoke about in cricket,
what can you take?
What can you take? So I always say, talent at the top level is the most useless virtue to have.
Yeah.
Because talent makes you lazy. It's how hard you work.
With what you have.
Exactly. We all dealt with a hand of cards. What we do with that is what will make our life. You can either complain about it. Like I tell people in back home in India, and they say, no, man, the UK, obviously, if I was born in London or if I was in fucking a developed world, I would have done this. If I was in the US, I would have done this. I said, dude, the guy in Africa is saying this about you, right? And the guy in the US, you think the life is easy. It's not. Everybody in the US is not a billionaire. Everybody in the UK is not a millionaire. It's fucking hard. And when you look at their salaries, and we spoke about this, when you look at their salaries, people are earning 30 grand a year. 30 grand
It's nothing.
Goes fucking nowhere in the UK.
Yeah, I know. And, I'm not sure your ancestry, but my ancestry, my forefathers, my great-grandfather was 11 years old, came from Lithuania, came here, Jewish, came to East London with nothing because there was nothing there. Well, they had nothing, but didn't have very much, and worked ridiculously hard as entrepreneurs in the East End of London, made money, moved out into the suburbs. And guess who came in and copied? The Indians. They came to exactly the same area, same trades, as in, linen, clothes, shoes, and just copied. But what a lot of people of the different cultures, I think, I can't speak for every culture, but there's this whole thing of everything we do is for someone else. It's not for us.
Exactly.
And I think that's where entrepreneurship has kind of got a bit lost. It's like, look at me, look what I've got. And I think, I don't care what you've got. I'm curious about what are you going to do with what you've got to serve and help other people. And that, as we talked about before we came in here, is about this whole thing of the hero's journey, right? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite film or one of your favorite films?
I mean, recently I watched a movie. I mean, Air is one of my
Air.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies.
And everyone thinks of Jordan as the Michael Jordan was not the entrepreneur. Dolores, his mum, who basically said to Nike, yeah, he'll go with you, but you've got to give him a percentage.
Imagine, you had to have fucking balls, man, to ask that question. Yeah.
Well, she did.
Yeah.
She did. So that's obviously that's a great film. I like. Do you like Lord of the Rings? Do you like?
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So whether it's Lord of the Rings, Rocky, all these films, it's the same thing. Every film is the same. Someone is called to an adventure. They don't want to go.
You look at Rocky, you look at Sylvester
It's
Stallone.
a real story. It's
It's
just
fucking Can you believe the constraints he had? People said, we'll take somebody else for this movie. He says,
and
no,
it's
I
like,
will
no,
only
no.
do it with fucking me. You
Yeah.
know, you could have just thrown in the towel. I always tell this to entrepreneurs, and we spoke about this. You know, businesses don't fail because they were bad. Businesses fail because people give up. You will
Yeah.
succeed in 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. But you will succeed if you don't give up. But people just throw in the towel. When the shit hits the fan, people throw in the towel.
And I think that's what people might think it's weird. Why do you have this word tattooed on your arm? Obviously, it's a testimony to my wife. But when you're intentional, you actually know that what you're going to do is difficult.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be difficult, and you almost want it to be difficult because you know that, well, that's where the growth will happen. But we know that for a lot of people, if things are difficult or hard or painful, it's like exercise. We get stronger by something that is difficult and challenging
Yeah, by breaking
to us.
a muscle, simple as that.
Yes, and everything that grows in nature, everything goes up against resistance.
Yeah.
So if you look at a tree or a plant, it's going to be challenged by the weather, the heat, the cold, the wind, and it's like if it learns to withstand what's being thrown at it, it becomes stronger. But I understand. I mean, I don't know what you think about this. You know, I know you're passionate about fitness and passionate about entrepreneurship. You know, Napoleon Hill famously said that, 2% of people will achieve. And I still want to prove those numbers wrong. Like, no, why can't it be 3%, 4%, 5% of people that have an idea of something they want to do, whether that be get fit, be healthy, start a business, and help people go through the challenges that they face for them to get the results they want.
No, I'll tell you. So it's a very interesting point that you're raising, because this is something I wanted to ask you, in fact. When you start coaching people, right, I'm sure initially you witness that there is a lot of resistance to what you're telling them, right? And that's the reason that 2%, 3%. Do people adapt to what you're saying quickly? What's the pattern that you see? If you've say coached 100 people, how many people do you think at the beginning of your coaching you believe that, you know what, these guys, he or she will make it to the top, or he or she has what it takes, or are willing to listen? Because a lot of people would get a coach because somebody's asked them to get a coach, but will then not listen to the coach at all.
I mean, look, it's really interesting. What brings most people to me is they're not in a good place and they want to get out of the space. And I used to think I fixed people. That's how naive I was. Now I realize I don't fix anybody. I create the space to listen for people to make sense of their own experience and then help them and support them. But I think what's so fascinating is diving into people's stories to help them look at their world from a fresh pair of eyes. So look, a great example of someone I've coached who I've been very fortunate to work with was one of the greatest of all time in terms of sport, which is Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7 times snooker world champion. He came to me in 2002. He was not in a good place. And he made an appointment to see me for 2 hours. He stayed at my house for 3 days. And coincidentally, what we did is, because I wanted to entertain him a little bit, we watched Michael Jordan videos because I was a big fan of Jordan. And then on the second or third day, he talked and I listened. Like you said before, we have 2 ears, 1 mouth, shut up, seek to understand, seek to create the space for someone to be heard. And with Ronnie, I just, after 2 days, I said, Ronnie, what do you want? And he said, I want to win again. And I said, well, how would you know that you'd won? And he looked at me like I was mad. He goes, well, I will lift the trophy again. And I said, well, the person you see lifting the trophy in your mind's eye, is that you in the past or you in the future? He goes, no, it's me in the future. And I said, well, that person you see, Ronnie, that's not you. It could be you. It could be you. And you've come to me because you want to be that person. So what do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? And actually, it's quite ironic talking about this. The thing he said is the thing I have to start doing is exercising consistently. And that's one of the things he credits me for more than anything else, because he's become a serious runner. He loves running. And I suppose it's creating the space for someone to look at the world differently. People don't change when we tell them what to do.
Yeah.
We wag the finger. Most people change where they go, I never thought of it like that. And then when they've never thought of it like that, I must just tell you one more thing because we're on the subject of cricket. I work with the England blind cricket team.
Wow.
They're not all blind. I know it sounds crazy. Different variations of sight. Some of them are completely blind. I didn't know. I was so naive. They can see. How do they see? They make a visual representation in their mind of where the ball is. They're not holding the cricket bat going, shit, I hope I hit the ball today. The ball makes a sound. It's got like little seeds in it. They used to have a bell in it, but they went from like a volleyball all the way down to a cricket ball as the game has developed. And they can see. A blind man isn't hitting a stick on the ground for no reason. He's hitting a stick because he's making a visual representation of where he is. And as entrepreneurs, we start to make a vision. I can tell, I can see what you're like. You're very easy to read.
Yeah.
You create such powerful images in your mind
That's
that
the
they're
only way.
so real to you
Yeah.
that you can't sleep sometimes because it's like, oh, it's already here.
Yeah.
And
I think if you can, and as an entrepreneur, I can say one thing. Most things that I've achieved in life, I already knew I'm going to get.
Exactly.
It was there. It was just, we were with Chris some time back. And when I was talking to him, Chris is our chief commercial officer for MYG. And I was just speaking with him. And he usually has a habit of saying, if we do this, and I tell him, not if, when. There's no if. What the fuck is if? And he says, yeah, I get your mindset. Now, obviously, people think I'm naive. People think I'm an idiot in terms of thinking that. But it's done.
When my coach was alive, he said, take the word life, L-I-F-E, put a big cross through the if.
Yeah.
There's no ifs. He said the legacy of your life is that when you exit your life, that you loved your life.
Yeah.
That's what it was. There's no ifs, there's no buts, but you know what people are like, oh, this happens and that happens. And that creates kind of, I don't know what it creates, resistance when it doesn't need to be there. It's fascinating.
See, nobody can tell you what path and how the path would be. As long as you know your destination and you're clear you're there. So if this is something I spoke in my TED talk, and I said, we are traveling from the two cities in India, Pune and Mumbai. So imagine you're traveling from Manchester to London at night, right? All you can see is 200 fucking meters where your headlight is. Those 200 meters get you to fucking 163 miles. You might hit a road bump. Something may happen on the way. There's road works. You will find your way because you know where you're going. As long as you know your destination, right? And as long as you can visualize it, there's no set path for success. The only thing I know, if I know I will be successful, I will be. Full stop. There is no if in my life. It's when.
I think what I've learned, and I'd be curious as to what you think about this, is that, again, just going back to Ronnie O'Sullivan, 2 years working with him, which was amazing because he ended up winning the world title for the second time. But we talked about paying the ultimate price of winning, which is to forget about winning. That's already taken care of.
Yeah.
Let's just do what we're doing, and let's let this happen as a result. Let's stop investing in that. That's already happened. Let's just do this and let that happen. We don't care about that. We care about what we're doing right now, because that's just cliche, right? But that's the journey.
I always tell my team. So my team's, we've just done this. I says done. So now what's next? What's next? The moment in business, right, I get the kick out of the deal. But once the deal is done, it's gone. I would never think about that's a big achievement. What's next is what I'm chasing. What's the next thing around the corner? That's the chase. I think it's the chase that's more important. Like some people would like, imagine you're in a car at 200 miles per hour, right? Constant speed, 200 miles per hour. It's fucking boring, isn't it? Now, if I tell you, I'll take you from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2 seconds. Tell me, where's the fun?
Yeah, that's the fun.
That's the fun, So I always say that acceleration, that going from starting something from thinking about it, taking it and making it a reality is the fun. The fun is not when somebody hands over something to you. There's no fun in it.
Well, I see the passion that you have in in coaching people. I know that's one of your goals, right? Moving forwards is you started a business school all those years ago with the misfits. And I think when you find the right people, what you can do with them, when they feel that they are valued, heard, cared for, and they have an environment where growth is possible, that's where the magic really happens. And, I know you are the person who is going to facilitate me coming to India.
Oh,
I
100%.
told you, I told you I've had 3 trips to India and they've all been cancelled for
This
various
one
reasons.
won't be cancelled.
Well, and then I'm sure I already see it. You and me in the street eating my favorite dish, which is a street food called Bel Puri.
Bel Puri, yeah.
The fact that I can already see that happen is it's crazy, because when I met you and I started talking to you at that event, I just knew, I thought, okay, I know something's going to happen with this guy. But I think one of the things that is so important, as we talked about the true meaning of the word entrepreneurship, which a lot of people think
Is
means
a French word. It's
French. Someone is going to take a risk in the pursuit of profit, whereas it's has a much deeper meaning. It comes from Sanskrit.
Correct.
And it means someone who has to do something that it doesn't matter how much the wind will blow. This desire will never go out because it's who they are.
Yeah.
And if you can help people work out who they are and what they're here to do, wow, so much is possible.
No, I coach people because it makes me happy. Fuck what they feel. It doesn't matter. So I'm very selfish in this. When I see somebody who's got potential, it's got nothing to do with,
I like that.
I'll tell you, my business partner in the gym equipment business today, MYG, is a guy called Shrey. Shrey used to be my student in my business school. I identified him from day one, and it's a two-way street, right? So I still remember he got an offer from a French company, AXA, and he came to me and said, I want to work with you because at some point of time, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to learn, right? And that's my aim. I said, dude, I'm just starting a gym chain. I'm just starting a gym. I didn't even know it'll be a fucking chain. So I said, I'm just starting a gym. I probably have some work for you. So yeah, but I can't offer you this kind of money. He didn't even see the offer letter. He came on board, joined.
Wow.
And today, when I sold the company, he came on board with me as a business partner. He owns half the company. He runs it independently. And I don't give any credit to myself for it. I give him credit for it.
Yeah.
That opportunity was presented to multiple people across in different businesses. But a lot of people would take that as not as an opportunity, but as, oh, what if this goes wrong, that goes wrong. So there's some people who would always see, what if this goes wrong? On the other hand, this guy said, I will make everything work. And he's just 30 years old now. And he's doing so well, I don't need to do anything. And the reason this is working well is, like I said, it's not, I don't care. What I care about is it makes me feel good.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm very selfish.
I'm the same. It's like, let's be selfish about this.
Yeah, I'm fucking selfish. I want
to be a part of what they create. So you could look at them and watch and enjoy their success and just know, well, you know what? I had a bit of a part to play in that. And every hero needs a guide. And, that's why we watch these films, because there's someone who has guided that person to where they are. But the whole idea of then who you become, it's about, for me, it's about passing it on. My mum taught me there's an answer to everything. She's not here anymore. My dad's not here anymore. My dad said, son, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So everyone I meet, I'm thinking, who's this person? Not because I want anything in return. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And then when you can connect one person to another person, and then my wife, who literally was, just get on with it, is like, I have this incredible opportunity to pass on what's been passed to me. And I want to do that till the day I die. I just want to pass it on. And still keep learning, is because stuff's still being passed on to me, which I'm now passing on to you.
Yeah. And that's our job. And I think we're all, in a way, what you would call as vessels, right? We all carry knowledge. We pass it on to people. We get from people. A lot of people help. People have helped me who I would have never expected that they would do anything for me, ever. Because I didn't do anything for them. Nothing. I had done nothing for them. There was no reason for them to go out of them and help me.
It's that whole thing of what is it that you've got, like the entrepreneur thing. Yeah. What is it that you have to give that you would pay for the privilege of giving? I love that question. What do you want to do so much
Yeah.
that you would pay to do it?
Oh, man, if I,
Like coaching.
yeah. So if I were to be given a choice of doing one thing for the rest of my life, it would be coaching.
Yeah.
I would just sit with people and help them grow their organizations. And people ask me, why the fuck are you spending time on this? You're getting nothing out of it. I said, dude, do you know what I'm getting out of it? Everything is not money. The mental satisfaction you get out of, it's like a child given that Lego
Yeah.
and he creates something out of those pieces. Man, it's priceless.
Yeah, it really is. And I think there are more and more people waking up to there's more to life than money. I believe, and I know I can make a lot of money by giving value, not because I want money, but that's just how I choose to move through the world. I'm not saying that's how other people should, but if you do what you love what you do, I think somehow the universe just has a way of giving it back to you. Maybe not straight away, and maybe not all the ways that you intended. But for me, being a good human being is about being a good servant, a good steward.
Well, tell me something, Pete. When as entrepreneurs, one of the things we are always blamed for or guilty of is we don't understand work-life balance. How did you manage work-life balance in your case? Because you've been relentless.
Yeah, I burnt out. It's such a good question. I think I've just learned to slow down the pace.
But have you?
Yeah, I have. I definitely have. I used to say yes to everything. I realized a lot of my life was spent in a sympathetic state. My nervous system was way too activated. And, it sounds pretty crazy. When I was young, I was always frightened of my parents dying. I don't know where that fear came from. So as a very young boy, I was frightened of that, and I was probably thinking it was going to happen. So even if I was with my parents, I just wasn't as present as I could be. And the same with my wife. I just don't think I was as present. So what I've learned is I can activate my nervous system. Like you, I can make things happen.
I know that.
I mean, even before, so fast. But what I've learned now is just cool down the pace a little bit. And when there's a time to go. Don't go all the time, because I miss out on so much by not being fully present. But I'm like you, I'm hyper. I mean, I was born 6 weeks premature. I was in a hurry to come out. I've been in a hurry ever since.
I'm still fucking premature.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 48.
You're probably, maybe not. Maybe you'll just keep going at this pace. But I think you still know, hang on, let's take the foot off the gas. Like, you're going to see your friends after this, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll spend some time listening.
Yeah, but I'm fucking working there as well. I've got 5 or 6 calls lined up. So I would never.
But you love what you do. And if you love what you do, then who cares?
This is such a, when people tell this to me, and I said, dude, you just don't understand. You don't understand, because it's my own thing. I'm doing it because I'm not doing it for a reason. I'm not sulking that I'm doing this. I'm doing it because I fucking like it. It's like people think it's stressful.
Of course.
It's not. It's fucking de-stress for me.
Yeah.
If I am,
what would be more stressful for you is doing nothing, right?
Yeah. So my friends have this joke. There's a place in India, in Igatpuri. It's called Vipassana. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yeah, of course, for silent retreat.
Right. So my dad's done it, my mom's done it, my brother's done it. They said, boss, you don't fucking go. I won't last 2 hours.
Yeah.
I won't last 2
Yeah.
hours. I'll go absolutely mad.
Well, as all of the ancient mystics, from Lao Tzu to Buddha to Socrates, know thyself, right? That's what they all said. And actually, those 3 guys all lived within 100 years of each other, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
And they were all about self-inquiry, know thyself. And if you know yourself well enough, it's like, look, I know myself.
Yeah.
I know who I am, and I know how I want to move through the world. It's got nothing to do with you. This is my life.
Yeah,
I'll live it how I want to live it.
And that's what
That's
this is.
entrepreneurship.
Right. And that's, for me, that's pleasure. It's classed as work because we look at work as,
Yeah.
Do
Do you know who invented work?
Who did?
The Romans. And you know why they invented it?
Yeah.
To get people to do the things they didn't want to do. We're not working. We're doing what we love.
Yeah. So we're technically not working. Like I have this joke. I say, when I die, fucking throw in the laptop in the grave. I need to be working because I'll get bored. So point is, it's just if you're passionate about what you do, right? Anything. If I need to take a break, if I think I'm going to burn out, I will take a break. It's not happened as yet, but if I do feel, I'll probably do it.
Yeah.
You know, the COVID was the worst time for me because I couldn't work. I couldn't do too much. Like I was addicted to going to my gym. You know, I would walk into the gym. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. He's just done a strategic tie-up with a university in India, and we had a call yesterday. I just called him to congratulate him, and he says, Samir, I still remember those days. You know, he says I'm telling you, his name is Dr. Lukman Sheikh. He said, you know, I've learned a lot from you, and one of the things that I really like was you used to come to the gym at fucking 6 in the morning in that, you know, in your vest of yours, train, do meetings while you were in the gym, while you were training. And at night, when we were leaving at some 8 o'clock or so, you'll say, no, I've got things to finish. When everybody goes, I can chill out and work. He says, you're the only person I knew who would say, when everybody goes back home, I will chill out and work. He says, what do you mean by fucking chill out and work? But that was chill out for me because I would have time to myself to think what I want to do. Like I'm a very strong believer of vision boards, right? Not the way I never learned vision boards, but I've always in my life, even before seeing any of these movies or documentaries, I used to always visualize what I wanted.
Yeah, because we think in pictures.
From when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, I've always visualized things. In my dream, if I have something, so like this podcast, I've already visualized this. I've already know what I'm going to do. I'm already here with you. So that's like, and I visualized this podcast the day we met first. Do you remember when we met at Evolve?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I spoke to you and I said, you know, we should do this. And then we booked in a date, and then in both our calendars we forgot. And I think it was on the last the book call. Yeah. So I think at that point of time is when we realized, oh fuck man, we need to do this. But I said, yeah, we have to do that podcast for sure. And I've been dying to have a conversation with you because yours is a very interesting story. My typical guests, barring a couple of them, have been only gym owners or people who are purely the fitness industry. You are a very good example of somebody who's cut through different industries.
Yeah, pioneer. Pioneer of personal training, pioneer of life coaching, pioneer of lots of different things. So I wasn't the first.
Okay, say if I want to be, if I've got about 25, 30 years of experience, I'm good at what I do. How do I take on coaching? And is coaching for everybody as a coach? Do you think it's a profession that people can take up?
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody needs a coach.
But can everybody be who should be a coach?
I don't know about that. I think.
What do you feel in your view?
Listen, you can only be a good coach if you love people and you're a very, very, very good listener and you're happy to create space for people to speak. So yeah, coaching's not for everybody, but I think everybody needs, I think all business people need coaching because you can't make sense of what's going on in your head on your own. You're only as good as the quality of the people around you. And again, going back to Napoleon Hill, you know, his second principle of success is a mastermind, alliance, who is around you that knows you unconditionally, has got your back. And that's what, to me, success is about.
So what does the future hold for you? What are you planning to do next now?
I've got some really big ideas around helping people look at themselves differently and live an intentional life. And I don't want to say too much at the moment because I'm still in a state of transition. But this documentary I made that you kindly said very nice things about, it has just won multiple awards around the world.
You won an award at Cannes also.
It won in Cannes. It won Most Inspirational Film. It's about my wife. So at some point we'll go public about what the film has done. But I think in answer to your question, I'm just preparing myself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually for the next coming of myself, which is this new version of me, which is better than the previous version of me. People look at pictures of me and look at me now and think, you look younger than you did. I am. In some ways, I feel younger and more ready. So I'm just looking forward to inspiring more people coming to India.
Yes.
Which will be a dream come true. You have no idea.
You need to come to India when we have IPL on. It's fucking mad. When the IPL is on.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to.
You have to be there.
Will you be there?
Oh, 100%.
Do you go for the IPL or?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm in India, I do that.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy.
I mean,
people tell me football is Man, you have to be in a stadium in Mumbai to know what fucking
Yeah,
crowd is.
well,
You can't hear yourself. Fuck listening to somebody else.
well, I love the culture. I've always loved it. And you know, there's a Sanskrit word, Rumbagashura, which means hero in the beginning.
Yeah.
And they talked about this Sanskrit, that people would start things. They'd be heroic in the beginning. This is like thousands of years ago. And I used to think, what did people start and stop? What could they start and stop back then? I don't know, building a house and stop building it. Whereas today, of all the things we can start, we can stop. But I like the idea of let's stop before we start. Let's think this through, and then let's put a plan of action together, and let's do this together, whatever that thing is.
You basically love people, right?
Yeah, I do. My dad was a Rotarian for 50 years. Rotary is a club, you know, where you serve humanity and serve communities. And the motto of Rotary is you seek service over self. So, you know, it's all about a life of service. And I've learned to serve myself better. And as a result of that, I believe I'm now even better equipped at serving the people I choose to serve. So, yeah.
One of the things, Pete, entrepreneurs also face is reality as a world which is failure, right? How did you, I'm sure you had your own sets of failures. How do you cope with that?
I mean, failure is just a word that we've coined, and it means different things to different people. But I suppose when people say there's no such thing as failure, I don't know what really people mean. It's like, well, surely you understand that if anything you want to do, it ain't going to work out first time. It's very unlikely.
Yeah.
You're only going to learn how to do something by the mistakes that you make. And I think we have to embrace what some people might call failure. I mean, how many things do you see on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok where people are saying, you know, there's no such word as failure. Failure to me is an attitude. It's just like, okay, well, there's something to learn here. I'm going to lean into this and I'm going to learn, because a life without learning is, I'd say, is death, you know?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things that I say is the cost of innovation for an organization is its ability to accept and embrace failure.
Yeah.
Because if you don't accept and embrace failure, people are going to stop innovating because people are going to be scared.
Yeah, yeah. And in a world now that's moving so fast and there's more change than ever, and AI is just changing the way everything plays, we have to really have a much more of a profound sense of who we are, what we're doing, who we serve. And I think that society is now looking for more and more genuine people to follow, because there's so much fake stuff out there. People are being misled and everywhere.
Yeah, and we spoke about this, you know, I feel influencers on social media, especially in the fitness space, a lot of them are not qualified, are not giving right advice. I always say, you know, you should get yourself, because you're an influencer, you owe this, you have this much responsibility. Don't just say things for the heck of saying it, you know, just.
Who is it that said with great power? I think it was Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, and that's the fact, but people don't
You should come
understand.
to my house. I've got 2 figurines on my roof. One is Spider-Man and one is Superman.
Nice.
And at night they light up. And all these people pass the house, especially young people, because I love superheroes. And I think now the superhero films that are the most popular are the ones where the superheroes come together.
Yeah.
The Avengers, are like you and I come together.
Fantastic
Few
Four.
of us come Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
When we come together, now what can we do that we couldn't do if we were doing it on our own?
Do you feel sometimes, Pete, you know, the pressure to perform, because there's so much people expect from you now? You know, you're somebody people look up to. Do you feel that pressure that
Not
you
anymore.
need to perform?
I don't. I'm fed up with that. I don't perform anymore. I'm just much more myself, because I told you I came off social media, and I'm going to come back, but I'm not performing anymore. I'm not want to be one of these people that wants to be heard, shouting. I'm going to be much more strategic about, I don't want to perform. I just want to be me. Can I perform and be me? Yes, but it's not about the performance. You know, it's about, this is me. I don't care what you think about me. I know what I think about myself, and I've got something to say, and I'm going to say it. And that's what a key person of influence is all about. I know you're a big fan of Daniel Priestley, which is what his work is about. You've got to know who you are. If you want someone to know who you are, then know who you are first.
Yeah, I always tell people, what do you stand for? If you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you don't fucking have it right.
Exactly. And if you don't know what you stand for, you're full for everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what do you think, Pete, what do we see next from you? What should the world await?
Me in India, and then seeing you and me in the street. I just think more inspiring, more creating space for people, and I'm looking forward now just to see what comes back to me by me being more intentional. I can't tell you exactly, but just more greatness.
Amazing. Great. Thank you for doing
It's
this,
a
Pete.
pleasure.
Really, really appreciate it.
You should come on my podcast.
Yes. Whenever, I mean, I
Let's
would,
record it now. Let's keep recording. I'm joking.
no, let me know. I'll be
Okay,
there.
we'll do it. We'll do it.